Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy, my channel's Finding Value, and today we're going to go over uranium. We're going to do a technical analysis. I'm going to show you and tell you what I think about the charts. What I see is continued downward pressure on uranium companies. I do think it's going to take some time for this to work its way out. So let's take a look at the charts here. This is uranium technical analysis. And here we go. So here's URNM, North Shore Global Mining ETF. You can see this guy coming up. This is an ascending wedge. It's squeezed up into the corner and broke to the downside. We are now continuing its downward move. So what I am suggesting here is I am bearish on uranium on the very short term. We are in a pullback consolidation period. On the big long-term perspective and medium term, I am a huge uranium bull. So as you're seeing this, we've got great charts on the long-term perspectives, good charts on the medium, but in the short term, I am bearish because of the chart patterns and how we broke to the downside. Here's CCJ, same thing. We squeezed up into this tip here. It's called an ascending wedge, broke to the downside on good volume, good big downward break, and then small up days with the big down days all through here. We're just pulling on back. Normal pullback mode. NXE's doing the same thing. So we jammed up into this corner, big sell-off on big volume, and then we're pulling on back. Fission uranium, same story. This one's a little bit different. We do have a big hammer pattern here. We have a big old hammer pattern and then small down days next to it. It could be changing, and we could see this turn soon. Does that mean I go out there and buy a bunch of it? I still think it's early. I would wait, and I'd want to see confirmation for a move to turn around. But that one doesn't look... The candlesticks don't look too bad. It does look like the buyers are supporting it somewhat at that 43, 42 cent level. Denison Mines, this guy's been going more of sideways than lower. So this one's been pretty resilient in this pullback. UU, we're coming on over. Let's see what tomorrow brings us. We're right there at this support line. Let's see what the buyers and sellers do tomorrow. UEC, we broke to the downside of this pattern that was basically squeezing up into the tip, broke to the downside, and we've been in a sell-off ever since. Uranium Royalty Corp, we are sitting right at its resistance line again, or support line, I should say. We popped very much higher, and then we're coming back in these small down days. We do have the buyers out there. They push this thing higher right here with some good volume, and then the small little down days coming down back to support. We might see it go higher here. We have to see the buyers step in. If we see the sellers step in, it could push it lower and break through that support line, which means further downside. Now, it all depends what the overall sector does. If the overall sector's still seeing selling pressure, I would be cautious right here. But I'd be looking for buyers as well if the buyers step back in. URG, this thing is pulling back. It's got a lot of momentum. I would be sitting on the sidelines with new money. Pierpoint Uranium, it's still holding the uptrend, but we're seeing a lot of selling pressure all around us in the uranium sector. So be careful. Fission, I think this is the only one that I can recall really going up. There wasn't too many, but this one's going on up. It's just moving sideways. Sky Harbor broke to the downside. There's a lot of momentum here. I think we're going to kind of bounce around sideways for a little bit. Same with Canalaska, very similar to Sky Harbor. Here's your head and shoulders pattern. This projected downward. It's somewhere in this range over here. And I think we're just going to move sideways for a little bit. Standard uranium's probably, this one actually looks pretty good. Pattern, false breakout, broke to the upside, and now we're retesting. So that's a better looking one. Base load broke its downtrend, pulled back and retested, shot higher. We're trying to break out of this. There were some sellers there apparently. Big old volatile day. Nice little hammer here. Let's see if the buyers step in and push it higher to put it into a new uptrend. Forces Metals broke its uptrend to the downside. The only thing that I like about this one is we've got these two massive large up days on big volume and then the small little leak off of sellers. So this one doesn't look as bad as some of the other companies. Let's see if the buyers step in tomorrow for Forces Metals. Forum Energy Metals is still holding on. It's just moving on sideways to lower right into its support. So the support's holding as of right now. Deep Yellow, we still have support down here. It's still looking okay. Still holding on. Global Atomic, we got this large down day. I don't like these large down days where the opening and closing prices are so vastly different. That means momentum, means power. But we do have a little wick on the bottom, which means some of these buyers stepped in here. There's some support back here. Man, I'd wait on it. Goviax, we sold off. We had this large up day maybe about a week or two ago. Then these small little down days, or smaller, I should say. They still aren't teeny. We're right there trying to break through this support level. We break. Let's see if this thing holds or breaks tomorrow. Break to the downside could mean we could fall back down quite a bit. We hold, maybe we can bounce back up. Bannerman, looks like I accidentally put two of them in here. Delete. And this guy's still holding above its pattern here. It's looking okay. It's holding on. We'll see for how long. Let's see what tomorrow brings us. This is remember, a lot of these a lot of other companies in the sector have broken to the downside. The only ones that looked decent have been the African uranium companies. Centrus is still barely holding on, but it's looking okay. And then Lightbridge is actually looking pretty good. You can draw the trend line through here. Kind of broke out to the upside, coming back a little bit. If you zoom out a little bit, this is a big pattern that we're trying to break to the upside here. This actually looks pretty good. Like we're going to try to break at some point in time here. And if you zoom out again, we broke its downtrend recent. We broke out, back tested, and now we're in between these two. We're not yet in a new uptrend, but we're putting in work. We're trying to put a new uptrend in, and it's getting closer and closer. So, I mean, that chart looks beautiful right there on a weekly basis. And on the daily, it doesn't look horrible. So I'd say Lightbridge is a better looking chart than a lot of the other companies on all time frames. So we still got sell-in pressure here. We're still heading lower on a lot of these companies. The African companies are holding on, and they're faring much better than a lot of the other companies. Lightbridge is probably looking one of the best. Baseload looks one of the best. Those are a couple that I like. Deep Yellow's holding on. Bannerman's holding on. Better than the majority of the other ones. Lots of weakness in the overall sector in URNM. I'm seeing weakness across the board in terms of Camco, NextGen. Some of the air is coming out of this move higher. I'm not calling it a bubble. It's just we went up a lot really quick. We get these pullbacks, which is completely normal in markets, and you're going to have to face this every single time you invest in any of these sectors. Technology, it doesn't matter what it is. This just happens to be more volatile because it's a higher volatility sector, which means a lot more upside. But with upside comes volatility for the most part. So if you guys, I mean, what I'm doing, I'm not doing anything. I'm holding on. I'm watching the charts, looking to see what they're going to do. And I'm just holding on. And if you guys, it's up to you on what you want to do. I'm position sized right. My account, it's down quite a bit from its highs. That's for sure. But I mean, what else am I going to go into? That's your question, right? Nothing's better valued than this in terms of uranium to gold. These companies, I think, are going to be well needed in the next 10 years. So what are my options? Go sell this and go into cash when we have inflation? Well, that's not a good deal. We could go into technology, but that's never been as overvalued ever. So what I think is probably happening is they're trying to get people scared. They're trying to get people to sell out of their positions. And then what happens is professional investors come behind and pick up all your pieces of what you guys are selling. They fill their portfolios with all this stuff, and then they hold on for the big move higher. So I'm sitting here. I don't have tons and tons of money left, but I will accumulate some of these companies when they bottom and start turning around to move higher. I just don't see it yet. So more sideways, more down, and more patience. If you guys like this content, give me a thumbs up. Thanks for listening. This is Finding Value.